How many times must I tell you? You must never put your life on the line for me.
Mother has always had a fascination for Lord Mortimer, but has never wanted to tell me why.
We are doing our utmost to find your mother as
We get a
quickly as
recap.
possible. Without your mother, hundreds of men of the cloth would have gone to the guillotine.
All I can tell you is I'm looking for my sister.
Do you believe your mother capable of torturing a child?
An agreement for cannons. Lord Mortimer assured me that you are to take over the project on behalf of your mother.
Johann Christoph von Wollner, Minister of Religious Affairs, and Jacques Peroux, French Revolutionary Tribunal Judge. You will find that Lord Mortimer is not what one would call conventional, Monsieur de Richet. Monsieur de Richet, I am arresting you for the murder of Elizabeth Adams.
Okay. Now you gotta pick a book. By the way, we never mentioned the whole thing to Washington, so I found that thing in there to be interesting. I mean, we only have one book to read, so that'll be it. Lord Mortimer's office, January 22nd, 1793.
At last we meet, Monsieur de Richet. Do you mind if I call you Louis?
Please do.
Thank you. I wish to apologize wholeheartedly, Louis. I made you cross the seas, and I wasn't even here to welcome you. When I asked you to join us here, it was, of course, in the hope that you would help us find your mother. But an act of horrific violence occurred during the night, and I do not know if this is linked to the disappearance of Sarah.
If there's a possible link to my mother, I hope you'll let me know.
In the early hours of the morning, Elizabeth Adams was found dead in her room, savagely mutilated with a knife. I'll get straight to the point, Louis. According to the initial elements at my disposal, you were the last person to see her alive.
Yes, last night we, Do you suspect me?
I want you to tell me everything that happened last night and leave nothing out. Tell me, how did the evening begin?
Duchess Hillsborough and I were returning to our rooms when Elizabeth came up to us. She was in a state of panic and insisted that she needed to speak to me. She said she feared for her life. I took my leave of the Duchess and followed Elizabeth to her room.
Continue.
She insisted we have a drink, without which she refused to confide anything.
What exactly did she want to speak about?
She claimed she saw my mother the previous evening on the cliff, if I remember correctly.
Interesting. I will send someone as soon as possible. But do go on.
I refused to go on drinking with her. She already seemed drunk and her conversation became confused. So, then she ordered me to get out. If only I'd stayed.
Don't blame yourself, Louis. How could you have known? But thank you for this new information. Louis, I shan't hide the fact that this tragedy puts me in a very delicate situation. I cannot risk upsetting the smooth operation of our next conference. But the case cannot remain unaddressed.
I understand. What do you intend to do?
I must reassure my guests, and justice will be done. And for that to happen, I must ask for your help.
Why is that?
You met Elizabeth. You spoke together, I believe. She trusted you. Listen, Louis. Find out who could have committed this murder. I refuse to believe that one of my guests is the murderer. I want to know who is responsible for this. And I trust you. You have my backing. You must stop at nothing. Can I count on you?
Of course. How would you like me to proceed?
Maybe you could start by going to the scene of the crime. Elizabeth was attacked in her room.
Can you tell me anything else about what happened?
Now, Louis, I wouldn't want to influence you. Get over there and form your own opinion.
Do you have any suspects in mind, my lord?
I spent most of the night talking with Sir Gregory and His Eminence Piaggi, so I think you can remove them from the list of suspects. Monsieur Bonaparte and President Washington left the party after midnight, I believe. They were tired and went up to bed.
Right. I'll get over there immediately.
Thank you, Louis. Now, once you've finished, come back and let me know your findings. I'll be waiting. And Louis, you've got permission to search through the guests' rooms. They've all been notified and they agree.
Nice. We can search through the guest rooms. This looks like a pit you don't want to fall down. A bottomless pit. I don't know about you, but I kind of want a bottomless pit in my house. Wait, I should have gone back up and I should have done more searching. Where am I? By the way. Oh, that's the stairs up. Okay. I mean, I'll go back there, I guess. Where am I now? I can go into the rooms and search, but first I'll check out... Wait. First I have to check the murder scene.
Good day, Monsieur de Richet.
Mr. Volner, are you looking for anything in particular? Next to Elizabeth's room?
No, nothing special.
I'd have thought this is not really the shortest way to get to your suite.
Yes, I wasn't really looking where I was going. I shall leave you now, sir. I will return to my room.
That was suspicious. I didn't actually know her room was right here. Man, I don't like how my skill points don't fill up, like at night. Yep, I'm gonna, she's pretty dead. Well, she does look dead. I'll give her that.
Poor girl bled to death. Whoever left that footprint has boats for feet. That's at least a size 15. Where's a size like that here? Peru? Washington, maybe.
Blood. Now both of her eyes are red.
There are numerous marks on the body. She must have fought like a lion. It couldn't have happened without a lot of noise. There are also a number of old scars.
We're doing detective work.
People who scar themselves in this way generally do so to relieve some kind of psychological suffering. By trying to master the pain, they establish their self-control. Scarring, ugh. Scarring isn't very regular, but they're mostly from old cuts.
I don't have any of this.
I count no fewer than 9 wounds on the thorax with a lot of blood. At first sight, I'd say that's what caused her death.
What am I? a doctor.
It looks as though the wounds were inflicted from a precise angle, as if the murderer was standing behind Elizabeth.
Okay.
Some of these tattoos are veritable works of... What's that? The skin between her breasts is different. Bloody hell! This tattoo was drawn on a page of leather and stitched onto her skin. Probably during childhood. If the scars are anything to go by. It's the same kind of tattoo as on the rest of her body. I see no sign of bruising on the skull. The only clue is a scar from a previous craniectomy. Poor Elizabeth, she must have been very young when she went through all that. That's torture. She also has old scars around the neck, maybe mutilations. She bled from the nose. There's signs of bleeding, but I don't see any traces of bruising. What a strange smell. Laudanum. Certain courtiers use it to get drunk. If taken in large quantities, it can provoke fits of madness. No wounds, but blood on the right hand. Nothing on the left except that tattooed symbol. No marks or bruising.
Gotta
around
use
the
all my
wrist.
skills.
Doesn't look like she was tied up or held by force. Blood, but no trace of blows on the legs. The direction of the blood streaks caused by the wounds to the thorax show that she was standing when she lost blood. This proves that she was standing when she was assassinated. Possibly held by someone or something.
Stand up. She was standing up, and somebody stabbed
More
her
tattoos?
from behind.
Similar to those on the rest of her body.
That's what we know. Okay. I think that's what we've established thus far.
The handprint on the handle is really small. I can't imagine a man with a hand that size. It must be from a woman's hand.
But the footprints.
Knocked over bottle of wine.
Should I write this down? Small hand, big feet. Standing. Stabbed from behind. Okay. You have used 4.
Same thing Elizabeth served me last night.
Smelling
Still just as
alcohol doesn't make you
disgusting.
drunk.
I don't know what's happened to this wine, but it's undrinkable.
This feels. I feel. Yeah, whatever. Whatever, game.
The clock stopped at 3:54. If it was smashed during the murder, then I've just established the time of the crime.
I wrote that down. So what the hell are you doing in here, man?
My dear Elizabeth, I'm writing to inform you of some unfortunate news. We won't be able to meet as planned on the first Sunday of May. I've been told that you're no better, and, unfortunately, your brothers and I are absolutely snowed under by the work required to govern this new country. Please excuse us. As soon as we can get free, even if it's just for a day, I promise we shall come and see you. Your loving father, John Adams. P.S. Don't hold it against your mother. She still isn't ready. Please don't judge her. I'm sure you'll be able to put all of this behind you one day.
Has Sir finished with this room?
No, I haven't gone over everything yet.
Sir may take his time. When Sir would like to leave, Sir has only to tell me.
Okay, he's there to let me out. Clock.
Vials of laudanum. The label shows that this laudanum comes straight from America. I wonder if Washington's involved.
Oh yeah, let's just yoink stuff. I mean, I don't know if that's a yoink, but you know, we'll call it a yoink. I'm gonna say we're taking stuff from the crime scene, so that's definitely a yoink.
Piece of fabric, high quality at that. I'd say it's silk. Going by the texture and the gray hue, it must come from a dress, that kind that women of quality wear.
Silk dress?
Color doesn't correspond to Emily's black outfits, and Elizabeth doesn't have anything quite like this in her wardrobe. Let's take a closer look. It's a little dirty. It must come from the bottom of the dress where it touches the ground. I recognize that moire pattern. It's the same as the travel dress my mother was wearing when she left. But why the hell did she come into this room?
Piece of fabric, high quality at that. I'd say it's silk. Going by the texture,
Whoops.
gray hue, it must come
Is there
from
a way to
dress,
skip?
that kind that
There's
women
no
of
way to
quality
skip
wear.
dialogue. I think we already got mother's dress. Mother? Question mark? Alright, I'm writing all this down. A gun.
A pistol? Fairly new, I'd say. And judging by the weight of it, fairly light. A tribute engraved on the barrel. To the liberators of France. There's a few dried traces of blood on the grip. Difficult to know for sure how they got there. It's extremely well maintained. The barrel is perfectly clean. It isn't loaded, and well, there's no traces of gunshot residue. I'd conclude that it hasn't been used recently.
Okay.
Right. I shall have to
Not
find its owner.
used. Five circles shaped key.
3rd of November, 1791. My dear sister, the cancellation of our reunion hit me like a stab to the heart. Father told me it was for your well-being, but I can't help but blame him. He claims that your condition has worsened and that it could be dangerous for both of us if we met. If only I knew where you were, believe me, I'd be at your side. I haven't received any news from you in a long time. Please write. Your loving sister, Abigail. P.S. I hope you like the enclosed talisman.
Does she have the? She doesn't have the talisman on, does she? Another letter.
June 11th, 1791. My dear Elizabeth, your last letter gave me much cause for concern. Your words were so cold, as if emotions no longer matter to you. Father maintains that the secondary effects of your treatment still trouble you, but that they will soon subside. Should I believe him? I cling to the belief that we shall soon see each other again, at long last. Right soon. Your loving sister, Abigail. P.S. Don't forget to tell me what present you want.
Okay.
A notebook, written in Elizabeth's handwriting. It is written in a mix of several languages. Not too easy to work out.
I can't use any of the skills. I don't have skills to pay the bills.
A novel of the initiation of a young woman into polite society.
Huh. The talisman that I gave back to Elizabeth. I can't exactly say it brought her good luck.
Okay, there was the talisman was in the corner. I think that's interesting. I think that's it. I think that's all we can find here. Oh wait, there's blood on the wall.
The blood spatter indicates that the murderer must have held Elizabeth upright during the attack. Even if Elizabeth wasn't very big, I doubt she wouldn't have put up a struggle. It takes tremendous strength to overpower someone like that.
Hey, what's up here? I didn't see the thing up here.
Devil's Thorn. I'll keep it.
Okay. Alright, I think we've seen everything. Oh no, never mind. We forgot. We didn't look at this.
A pentagram? What the hell's been going on here? I wonder if Elizabeth's death has anything at all to do with this pentagram. If a ritual went wrong and degenerated, Elizabeth would probably have been killed in the center of the pentagram, not 3 meters from here. That's strange. A pentagram? What the hell's been going on here? Many esoteric rituals are based on this shape. Could Elizabeth have been sacrificed during an occult ritual?
No. No. That is not what happened. We can't go out, right? And we can look out, but we can't go out. Alright, we can't look at the bed. Okay, this is gonna be... This might be... I may have made a mistake. I can't.
Has Sir finished with this room?
Do you know who could have made such a mess of this room?
Miss Adams, sir. We were given orders to leave the room as it was, so as not to rush her.
Did she have a fight with someone to get the room into this state?
Not that I know of, sir. Miss Adams would sometimes throw a tantrum, during which she would destroy anything that came to hand. Lord Mortimer told us not to enter the room.
Thanks for that information.
You are welcome, sir. Has Sir finished with this room?
I know enough now. Thank you.
Very well, sir. Sir may return whenever need be. I shall guard the door.
Oh, I can just come back. Okay, well. That I did not realize. Okay, well now I don't know. I guess this is what I'm doing for chapter 1, is investigating the death. I can go into any room. This is gonna be an effort here. Whose room is this?
Monsieur Johann von Wulner.
What can I do for you, de Richet?
Monsieur, Lord Mortimer has appointed me to investigate the tragedy that befell us last night.
Oh, yes. It's horrible. Yes. How can I help, monsieur?
Where were you last night?
In my room. I read a few ancient manuscripts before going to bed. But I didn't stay up long. I was tired.
Thank you kindly. We finished. I'll have a look around and then take my leave.
Do whatever you have to do.
That's it. Where were you? I read some ancient manuscripts and then I went to bed. I can't ask him, did you see anyone? Like...
A fragment of amber.
That's a yoink. I just yoinked that from him. I mean, come on. Well, I'm finding nothing in here.
A chest locked with a 4-letter code. Surely a word close to the owner's heart.
A 4-letter word. A 6? Woo! That's tough. I don't know. Oh, we didn't have any.
Golden elixir.
I used a golden elixir to get a golden elixir. Nice.
The Sorrows of Young Werther. There's a handwritten text signed by von Werner on this first page. Dear Elizabeth, I know that this book is but a small token compared to the delightful moments you gave me, but I hope that this will nonetheless keep the memory alive. Your ever-obedient servant. So, Volner had a relationship with Elizabeth. But that's hardly surprising given his fondness for the occult.
Book. We got a book. Ooh, what's that?
This is Circe.
Hey, can I ask him about that?
How can I help, monsieur?
Excuse me for asking, but did you know Miss Adams?
Oh, she... not really, to tell the truth. No.
I found the Werther dedication, signed by your hand, monsieur. Would you like to change your version now?
Be careful, de Richet. Don't push your luck. My relationship with Miss Adams was pure, and has nothing to do with you. Well, continue playing the detective as you see fit. But if I find the bastard who did that to Elizabeth, I will...
Yes! I would have preferred a simple response, but I see I have my answer now. I get the impression that your romance was over. Am I right?
So? What does it matter to you? I would never have attacked her, if that's what you're insinuating.
Who put an end to the relationship? You or her?
It was her. It was her. But what does that matter? We both agreed.
Exactly how long had you been seeing her?
I have no reason to answer you.
I see. Is that what you want me to tell Lord Mortimer when he asks what I found out?
It's only been a few weeks.
I don't know if I care about the answers to these questions, to be honest. I don't think I want to use my stuff.
We finished. I'll have a look around and then take my leave.
Do whatever you have to do.
I don't think it was him. I mean, I can come back and ask those questions later, but you know. This is gonna take longer than I thought, and I may have made a mistake by starting it, but I assume I can save and restart the investigation tomorrow if I want. So I gotta do this pesky thing called working. Otherwise, I'd play games all the time.
A few leaves out of an old encyclopedia.
Did I get the full encyclopedia? Oh, I did. Look at that. We get a lot of points from that.
So Jacques Perru?
This guy's sus. 'Cause he's got big feet, right?
What do you want from me, de Richet?
Greetings. It's fallen to me
Cut the crap! Get to the point. We both know why you're here.
And have you got anything to tell me?
What does it matter? It's too late anyway. Do what you have to do and get out.
It's never too late, sir. If you have something to say, now is the time.
You don't understand. Everything's already written. It's over.
Why is he behaving like the perfect culprit? What is it that's already written? I'm not sure I follow you.
No, you don't.
A pattern with 4 circles. Dear Monsieur Perru, I'm writing to thank you for the funds you sent. These funds will be crucial for the renovation of the western wing of the orphanage. The children you sent are doing marvelously well, and little Pierre will soon be walking. Some of them still sometimes suffer nightmares about their parents on the scaffold, but I expect they will cease in due course. Should you decide to send us more, please note that another 20 beds will soon be ready. The children and myself will never thank you enough. Long live the Republic. Long live France. Sister Marie-Hélène. All right. I've retrieved everything.
Oh, I got other stuff too. Well, I got a lot of stuff. I got a letter plus stuff. And I yoinked it too. I basically stole that stuff. I mean, let's be honest. I don't know if we shall meet again. At this point, I am a prisoner, snared by my own decisions. You must be protected. My future is not lost without you. You can still be saved, no matter how much bitterness that you hold against me. You must know that I made a pact with the devil, who I thought I could master. I thought I knew the monsters, but what I did for France is nothing compared to what they are capable of doing now. I can't see any way out. The jaws are closing upon me. I love you now and forever. Okay. Okay. And I can't go that way for some reason. Another box, which I can also unlock.
Great, honey. Great, honey.
Okay. So unlocking stuff is nice. It gets you things. Okay, so I am very glad I picked that up.
Records of the police. Notes intended for the police lieutenant of Paris. It's a list of people under surveillance in Paris. And there's some well-known names on it. This is valuable information. This shouldn't be lying around.
Dear friend, please come and join us. We must meet about the ongoing operations in Paris. A boat will be waiting for you in Calais and will take you to Dover in England. From there, a carriage will take you to the port of Tintagel, where a frigate will be waiting for you and other guests, so you can meet up with me on my island as quickly as possible. I await your arrival. Lord William Mortimer.
How long did it take to get places in these days? Like, I feel like it was pretty slow. I don't really see much here. Like George Washington being gone means how long would he be gone? Months at a time? Months? Like, I feel like he would be gone for months. You know?
All right. Have you finished?
Not quite. I'd like you to answer a few questions.
Did you kill?
Let's get right to it. Are you Elizabeth Adams' murderer?
That is for you to prove, if I'm not mistaken, boy. You weren't expecting me to do all the legwork for you, were you? Lazy man.
I just was asking a damn question. Jeez.
I know you were at the scene. We will save a lot of time if you just tell me what happened.
You know nothing at all.
Enlighten me then. For now, I have your footprint in a pool of blood.
That's right. The only thing you can prove is one of my boots was at the scene. Congratulations, you've wrapped up the investigation.
Okay. I'm not done.
All right. Have you finished?
I'm not done
Not
yet.
quite. I'd like you to answer a few questions. Two days ago, I surprised you having a go at Miss Adams. What happened? Did you want to give her another beating? She wouldn't let you push her around again, huh?
Shut up, you little shit! You have no idea what happened, and here you are, carping away. You think you're Investigator of the Year. Have you taken a look at yourself, de Richet?
Didn't you get enough beating her black and blue the last time?
I did not!
Why?
Nothing. Get away from me.
Just as soon as you stop treating me like I'm an idiot. If you wanted people to think you were guilty, you couldn't have done any better. So cut the bullshit and come clean now.
I can't! He'll come for revenge.
Who?
No one! Just shut your trap, goddammit! Yes, I was there. Yes, I walked in her blood. You've got all you need to wrap it up. Now scram!
Okay. Let's write that down. Jacques Peru was there. I mean, that's interesting. Let's talk to Napoleon. What does the Devil's Thorn do? Displays immunities, vulnerabilities. Okay.
The Prince by Machiavelli. A perfect read for anyone with a surfeit of ambition. That might come in handy.
Discovered immunity politics. Okay. Not too surprising overall. Let's scour the room first.
A bicorn decorated with a cockade. It must belong to a French soldier. Carmelite water. They say that if you drink this, it gives you a real boost. My dearest son, I'm writing to implore you to act quickly. The situation is rapidly worsening here. Paoli continues to steer our motherland, Corsica, toward open warfare between France and England. His men are everywhere. We are obliged to go into hiding and are unable to remain in the same place for more than 2 days. I wouldn't be surprised if they targeted us soon. Make haste, my son. You hold our destiny.
Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Searching.
A Greek drachma. One of the rare ancient coins to be mentioned both in the Bible and in the Quran.
Searching Napoleon's room. Hey, there's some amber.
A fragment of amber.
Music is interesting.
There's just one holster in Bonaparte's gear, and the pistol is missing. On the other hand, his cleaning equipment is in mint condition. That's typical of the soldier in him.
My dear Napoleon, as previously agreed, I would like to ask you to join us in January on my island to participate in the High Society meeting organized for the occasion. We shall be able to continue our discussion about our project for a new order for France. I have a proposition to make to you concerning your wish to put a strong leader at the head of France. I trust you to be discreet as to your coming.
All right. Some more golden elixir. All right, let's talk to Napoleon, I guess. I think we've... Oh, wait.
It's a beautiful weapon. Lovely damask blade. It's marked with the initials of the manufacturer in Versailles.
Discovered immunity, conviction. Okay, so looking at stuff gives you immunities. Conviction and politics.
Monsieur de Richet, please be quick. We are both very busy.
Did you hear about young Elizabeth?
Indeed, it is deeply regrettable.
Lord Mortimer asked me to...
I know. You no doubt want to know my alibi. I spent the night downstairs playing cards.
With who?
Can you tell me who was present at the game, please?
Well, there were Lord Mortimer, President Washington, and Sir Gregory.
Thank you.
Ah, and His Eminence Piaget as well. Excuse me, I nearly forgot him. Poor soul.
Did any of you leave during the game?
Not that I know of, monsieur. I didn't exactly spend my time noting the other guests' comings and goings, but I don't think so.
Thank you. Did you notice anything unusual during the evening?
Nothing at all, except the luck of the devil of Lord Mortimer and Sir Gregory at cards.
Did they win
Funny,
much?
he never mentioned
Oh
it.
la la, monsieur, they cleaned us out more like. But I plan on getting it all back before we leave.
What time did the game end?
I can't say exactly. As for me, I must have stayed until midnight. I was exhausted, couldn't think straight, so I preferred to go up to bed.
On your way up to bed, did you notice anything out of the ordinary?
No, not in the least. The whole manor was sound asleep.
Not really. No. As any good soldier would, I imagine you own a firearm. May I see it?
Oh, well, if you really want to, here is my pistol. Don't worry, it is not loaded.
Do you have several of these?
In Corsica, oui, but not on me when I am traveling. Only a bandit would carry such an arsenal.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, have we finished, monsieur?
Exactly. Thanks again for all your answers. Good day.
Okay. I don't suspect Napoleon. I'll say that. Alright. Alright, so we're at Emily Hillsborough's room. So there was a small hand on the dagger. So, and by the way, Emily Hillsborough is a twin and has a sister that looks exactly like her. So, we have two potential people who it could have been. Like, other than the people in the house. We have Emily's twin sister and my mother, in addition to everybody in this house. And I currently think it was her twin sister. That's my current guess. With my mother as an accomplice. Let's remember to start the timer this time. All right.
King George III in coronation robes. Nice touch for the room of an English duchess.
And also, I know how to pick locks now, so...
Dear E, I received your last letter. Unfortunately, the Crown informed the Golden Order that our mission should under no circumstances hamper Sir Gregory's plans. Decidedly, they have support from the highest level in Buckingham Palace. So here we both are, hands and feet tied, and little room to maneuver. Keep me abreast of events. Our mission is becoming more complicated. Yours, E. P.S. The French chapter of the Order doesn't appear to know anything about the arrival of our friend Sarah. I therefore cannot comment on it. However, my guess is that she has come here for personal reasons.
Okay. We be investigating. It's one of the most overused tropes.
A letter from William Pitt the Younger, addressed to Emily. He's the present Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Emily has indeed some powerful backers. Madam, thank you for consoling the Queen. The King's situation is worsening, but I wager he'll recover from this present fit. Next time you speak with Her Majesty the Queen, would you please be so kind as to ask her to look into my petition to raise taxes with the King? I will personally see to it that our nation will recover from this impasse. But King George's mental situation is slowing down our decision-taking. Thank you in advance for all your help. William Pitt, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom of Great Britain.
Duchess, you can inform King George of the Holy Father's backing. We shall assist you with financing the recruitment of regiments for immigrant royalists to fight against France. Your friend.
2 coils circle the lock.
Oh, 2? Whoa, man. Whatever, I'm gonna do it. There's a letter.
Dear Gregory, thank you for the information. I've managed to find out about the names you gave me. George Washington is a man you can trust. In spite of his obvious talent for politics, he has remained upright and honest. On the other hand, as you may well know, he is already doing business with Lord Mortimer. It will be more difficult to approach him. Napoleon Bonaparte was unknown to me until today. He's a passionate young French soldier for whom Mortimer predicts a promising future. Take heed. He is a man of conviction, which to my mind makes him potentially dangerous. As for Sarah de Richet, what more is there to say? You already know each other. She was apparently invited by Lord Mortimer about an ongoing matter in Paris that concerns a receiver in stolen art. See you soon. Duchess Emily Hillsborough.
All right. I've retrieved everything.
I have?
A letter from William Pitt the Elder addressed to Emily. He was the English Prime Minister.
Wait.
This letter dates from 15 years ago now. Madam, I shall never thank you enough for all your care and attention. I shall be indebted to you until my last breath. If you have any request of me, you only need ask. With regards to my son William, I shall never thank you enough for looking after him. You know the latter's preferences, and you will understand he needs you desperately. For that, and as agreed with Queen Charlotte, our friend Duke Hillsborough will carry out his task and meet with you within 6 months. From then on, you'll be free from want. Yours sincerely.
Search.
A devil's thorn, to be used to uncover the best disguised traits.
I have too many of those. Alright, well, we'll use one against her, I guess. How do I use it?
What can I do for you, Louis?
I've come to see you about last night's tragedy. Did you hear anything about what happened to Elizabeth?
Yes, we all did. Rumors spread quickly, you know. How awful. I didn't know her well, but I hope at least the poor thing didn't suffer too much.
Death came quickly. You can be assured of that.
If such a senseless act can happen here, then none of us is truly safe anywhere. Lord Mortimer must be mortified that one of his guests could have committed such an act, don't you think?
He is indeed very upset about it. It's only natural after such a violent murder.
Violent? What do you mean?
Elizabeth was stabbed 9 times.
Oh my God, Louis. How awful. The murderer must have had a serious grudge against her to set upon her like that. It must have been a crime of passion. Do you know what happened exactly?
In fact, Lord Mortimer has asked me to look into this case, Emily.
Really? Are you Lord Mortimer's snoop now?
I'm doing it for Elizabeth, not to please Mortimer.
Good for you. Quite right, too. Have you found out anything?
I'm now interviewing all the guests to establish the alibis for each person. Just so that I can cross you off the list of suspects, can you tell me what you were doing on the night of the murder?
Am I given to understand that I'm on the list of suspects?
Don't take it the wrong way, but I must consider every possibility.
Well, if you absolutely wanted to be sure of my activities that evening, you only had to join me, you know.
I know, Emily. Especially since I couldn't prevent the murder, even though I spent part of the evening with Elizabeth.
You're sure it's not too hard to bear for you?
The fact is, I don't have a choice. But I will find the murderer.
Yeah.
I owe Elizabeth that, at least.
Yeah!
Did you and Elizabeth get to know each other?
I must admit, Louis, I didn't take much interest in her. I feel a bit guilty about it, but I never actually spoke to her. She seemed burdened by her problems, and as she wasn't invited to the conference, I didn't really seek her out.
I hear you were in discussions with the Holy See.
Oh, either His Eminence can't keep his tongue from wagging, or you've been poking your nose where you shouldn't, sir.
Even so, Emily, you're raising a royalist army. That's no small matter.
And you are straying from the subject. Is there anything else you wanted to ask me?
I found a torn piece of dress in Miss Adams' room. Gray silk.
Where's it from?
That's what I'm trying to find out. The color doesn't match any of Elizabeth's dresses, but I might not have found all of her clothes yet.
Good Lord, Louis, do you realize what this means? If this piece of dress isn't from Elizabeth, then it's... I don't have any grey silk dresses, Louis. Neither does my sister, since we wear the same clothes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to check with you.
I'm so sorry, Louis.
Thank you.
Are you all right? You know, I'm sure there's a good reason why your mother was at the scene.
Thank you, Emily.
Okay. I can't.
I won't keep you, Emily.
Can't
Thank
do
you
that.
for answering my
I don't
questions.
have that skill.
It's raining time.
I don't have that skill. I am not skilled at diversion, apparently, but I am skilled at yoinking things. My yoink skill is high. I have a high yoink skill.
A devil's thorn, to be used to uncover the best disguised traits.
I feel like most adventurers have very good yoink skills. You know? Did I look at this letter? I'm pretty sure I did. Alright. Okay, now we need to talk to a few other people. There's only a few other people left, I think. This is, who's this? I can't go in there. Alright. I don't think they're here. Who's this? That's me. That's my room. We have, oh, I can't go in there either. Why can't I go in there? I don't know, but I can't. Alright. I can't go in there. Alright. I think George Washington is over here somewhere. Is this George? This is George. George! Let's use a golden elixir to get rid of our whatever stat.
George!
Our smelling some alcohol so we get drunk thing. Yeah, it's George, all right. Oh, that's a box I can open. But over here, it's a nice little table.
Carmelite water. They say that if you drink this, it gives you a real boost.
I like the idea of talking to somebody just like chugging a thing of water and then being like, I'm gonna do something amazing.
It looks like a note between Emily and Washington about trade deals.
Decipher the letter. I can't decipher it because I don't have politics. Elboo.
My dear George, I'd like to invite you to join me as planned at my place. I have a project to show you. It is time that the United States played a more important role on the world stage. I understand your reluctance of playing with fire. I know your new country is very young, but rest assured that I would do nothing to jeopardize what we have built together. I look forward to seeing you soon. Your friend, William.
There's like nothing in here. There's like nothing. Just a George Washington looking out the window like a nerd. Look at this nerd.
Greetings, Louis.
Mr. President, you can guess why I'm here.
Of course.
Lord Mortimer has sent me to ask you a few questions about last night.
It's... How am I going to tell Elizabeth's father that she's dead?
I know, Mr. President. I shall endeavor to find out the truth about this tragedy. I must ask you to help me, though. Please.
Find the degenerate pig who did this, Louis.
Are you all right, Mr. President? Are you feeling all right?
Oh, don't worry. It's this rotten toothache. What do you expect? I'm no spring chicken now.
Tell me, Mr. President,
Had you spoken to Elizabeth since your arrival? You know her father. You thought she was dead.
No, I didn't. And I believe I'll be taking my remorse with me to my grave. I wanted to, but I didn't know where to begin.
You can't blame yourself. You couldn't have known that her days were numbered. I'm talking to all the guests to find out who has an alibi and, well, who doesn't, Mr. President. Can you tell me what you were doing last night so that I can strike your name off the list?
I spent the night right here, reading.
All night?
Exactly. Emily stopped by in the middle of the night, you can ask her. She wanted to talk about some business we have in common.
Anything whatsoever to do with Elizabeth?
Not at all, Louis. A business matter.
Were you aware that Elizabeth took laudanum?
Yes. She came to ask me for some. She had finished her reserve, I believe.
You said you never... What? You said you never talked to her. You just contradicted yourself, George.
Did she tell you why she was so desperate to get some, Mr. President?
She said she had terrible migraines that wouldn't go away.
More likely for the voices she heard, not the migraines. Were you aware that Elizabeth took laudanum?
I mean, listen to
Yes.
this.
She came to ask me for some. She had finished her reserve, I believe.
Do you take it regularly, Mr. President?
Unfortunately, I do, Louis. I still suffer from a terrible toothache, and
Did
it's
he
not
say
likely
he
to
never
get any
talk
better.
to Elizabeth?
Just for that, then.
Old age, my young friend.
Is this just a...
I don't wish it upon you, but you'll soon see. At my age, it's rare to have no problems in that domain.
And do you take a lot?
A moderate amount, Louis. Only the dosage indicated on the prescription of my doctor.
Okay.
Do you know if she had any enemies, Mr. President?
Not that I know of. I heard about her altercation with Mr. Peru, but that case was closed, if I'm not mistaken. But if in doubt, I wouldn't leave any door unopened. And I'd go and question your fellow countrymen.
Don't worry. Countryman or not, I'm not letting anybody slip through the cracks. Do you know why she came to the island?
To get help, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that right?
Indeed. Sir Gregory suggested to her father that he introduce her to Lord Mortimer to see if he could help her. It would appear that she wasn't invited to the conference.
That doesn't surprise me. The poor girl was in no way concerned by our business, and she had no political clout.
So, I don't understand why Sir Gregory invited her during the conference of his good friend Lord Mortimer. He must have realized that he wouldn't have much time to grant her. Preparing a conference does not seem an easy task. On the evening of our arrival, Lord Mortimer didn't even welcome us, what with his being so busy and all.
Yes, you're right, Louis. I didn't think of that. It is indeed rather surprising. The easiest thing to do is simply ask him, you know.
Of course. Mr. President, we found a footprint at the scene of the crime.
Not a dress shoe, I hope. That's all I wear.
No, rest assured. It looks like the print of a big ankle boot. A large size, I'd say.
Perfect. That should help you, Louis. It's a clue.
Yeah, I already figured it out, too. I know whose footprint it is. Like, practically everyone was at the scene of the crime. Like, everyone was there.